Hello everybody and welcome to the video on section 5.6 dividing polynomials. So to motivate this section, what I'd like to do is to talk about dividing numbers and take a look at what happens. So notice that we have 3, 5, 4, 4 and we want to divide that by 4. So to do this longhand, let's just note that we can write this as 4 and that goes into 3, 5, 4, 4. So if you'll recall doing the division, first you'll say, well, what can I multiply 4 by to get 3? And notice since 3 is less than 4, we would carry on. So now it's like, what do we multiply 4 to get 35? So let's just notice if we multiply by 9, we get 36. So let's take a look at 8. So 8 times 4 is 32. Right? So we go like that. Then we subtract. And here we get 3. And then our next goal here is to bring down the 4. So again, we ask what can we multiply 4 by that we don't exceed 34. So again, this will be 8. So 8 times 4 is 32. Subtract, so we get 24. And again, what do we multiply 4 by to get 24? And notice that that would be 6 because 6 times 4 is 24. And then we subtract and we get 0. We're going to be doing the same thing here later on with polynomials, just to kind of motivate this concept here. So let's take a look at 5961. So we want to divide that by 6. So 5961, and we're going to divide that by 6. So again, the question is, we can't do the 5, so we'll take a look at the 59. So what do we multiply 6 by to get 59? So notice that we don't go past 9. So 9 times 6 is 54. So we do our subtraction, so we get 5 and the 6. So again, we ask what do we multiply 6 by to get 56? So again, it'll be 9. So here again, we get 54, and now we get 21. So what do we multiply 6 by so it doesn't go past 21? And here we can easily see we get 3 is 18, and then when we do the subtraction, we get 3. All right, so just a couple of things. I'd like to do a little terminology here. So let's just observe that when we take a look at this 4, the thing that we divide by, let's just observe the thing that we divide by is called the divisor. See if I can't spell this right. D-I-V-I-S-O-R. The divisor, the thing that we divide into, is the quotient. Sorry, that's not right. The thing we divide into is the dividend. And the answer part is the quotient. Get my terminology straight myself. And then finally, this 0 right here is referred to as the remainder. So one of the things that we can observe is that when we divide 3,544 by 4, notice that we get an exact answer of 886. So at the end of the day, if I go 886 times 4, this is going to give us 3544. Okay, so 4 divides evenly into 3544. Now again, coming over here, again, this is the divisor. The 5961 is the dividend. And this number up here, the 993, is the quotient. And again, now we have a remainder. So our remainder is 3. So notice that when we write our final answer, we will actually write our final answer in the form 993. And if you'll recall, this would be 3 over 6. And again, we always reduce our fractions, so this would be 993 and 1/2. So let's just note that 6 does not divide evenly into 5961. So just to refresh on how to do long division, because I have a feeling we're going to be seeing that again. Okay, let's take a look at some polynomial terminology. So monomails, we're going to hear this word again. So monomails is just a single term. So this could be something as simple as x, could be something as simple as x squared, it could be something as 3x cubed, it could be something as negative 2x to the fourth, it could be 7ab, it could be 8a squared b cubed, and these are called monomails because notice that at the end of the day we have this variable that is a letter, and this letter could be raised to a power. Okay, so here we have the power of 2, power of 3, power of 4. So we have a number in front of here is 1, a number in front of here is 1. So here we have a number of negative 2 raised to the fourth power. Notice here we could have more than one variable, but the idea is that this thing is basically all by itself. So the idea with monomials is that we have these single terms. So let's write that down. Single terms. And let's just recall that terms, these things are separated by addition and subtraction. Okay, so notice there's no plus, there's no add, there's no subtracts in the monomials. Binomials, again, this is idea of 2, okay, 2. So this would be something like x plus 1, x minus 7, 2x minus 4, x squared plus 1, x cubed minus 27. Okay, notice that each one of these, again, we have two terms. So bi meaning 2. So 2 terms. Okay, so these are examples of binomials. Trinomials, let's see. Trinomials, does that sound familiar? Trinomials. How about x squared plus 2x plus 1? Notice here, trinomials. Can you see the pattern? How about x to the fourth minus 2x plus 1? Can we see something like a squared b squared minus 7 a cubed to the b plus 2? Again, can you see trinomial, 3 terms? All right, so notice that we have 3 all separated by pluses and minus. And in general, when there's more than 3 terms, we just call these things polynomials. So again, we can have something like 2x to the fifth minus 7x to the fourth plus 4x cubed plus 1. There's an example of a polynomial. Okay, so just poly meaning many. So it's this word here, poly meaning many terms. Okay. Now, notice that polynomials, so in general here, just to kind of give you an idea, if we take a look at polynomials, notice that monomials are a subset of the polynomials, just as the binomials are, just as the trinomials are. So that means that a monomial is a polynomial, a binomial is a polynomial, a trinomial is also a polynomial. Okay. It's just that these 3 get special names, that's all, because they're special cases. Alrighty, so let's take a look now at one of our first topics at dividing. And here we can observe that we have a polynomial in the top, and we're going to divide by a monomial. So what we do, whenever we divide by monomials, all we do is split everything up. So as you can see here, I have all of these polynomials, and they're all over just a single term monomial. So basically what we do to do this division, at the end of the day, all we do is we rewrite this as 16x to the 6th over 4x squared plus 20x x cubed divided by 4x squared minus 12x, 12x. Wonder how many times we can count and I say the word oops. That's your goal. So now we get 4x squared. And so now this just turns into a reduction game. So we know that, let's see, we got 4 goes into 16 4 times. And now we have x over x squared. So remember, we have this rule of exponentials that say a to the m over a to the n. We take and subtract the numerator from the denominator thing. So just to do this longhand, just to refresh our memory, this becomes 4x, and now we're going to take the 6, okay, 6 minus, and now we're going to subtract that 2 right there, okay, so now it's 2. And notice that everything cancels out, so basically there's just a 1 in the denominator. Plus, and notice that 4 goes into 20, so we get 5. And so can we see that we get x? And again, we're going to take the difference of this 3 and this 2. So we get 3 minus 2 minus, and now the 4. Okay, so this goes 3. Okay. And notice that since this 2 is bigger than this pretend 1 right there, we keep it down here in the denominator. So I'm going to rewrite this as x raised to the 2 minus 1. Okay, so notice that when the exponent of the variable is bigger in the numerator, we'll do this. And when the exponent is bigger in the denominator, we do it like this. So if you need, you can refer back to rules of exponents in section 5.1. So let me write this down. Review rules of exponents in section 5.1. So now we can go ahead and clean this up, and notice that we get 4x to the 4th plus 5x minus 3 over x. And that will be our final answer. And that's what we'll enter in when we go to My Math Lab. All right, so for this one, notice that we'll do the same thing. So a monomial goes into a polynomial. So again, we get 16a cubed divided by 4a minus 12a to the second divided by 4a plus 8a divided by 4a. Okay, so again, notice that these powers are bigger, so we'll just retain these up top. So 4 goes into 16 4 times, and so now we get a to the 3 minus 1 minus 4 goes into 12 3 times, a to the 2 minus 1 plus, and notice here the a's drop out and 4 goes into 8 twice. So again, to simplify this, we get 4a to the second minus 3 to the a plus 2. So that is our final answer. So let's take a look at this one. So here and here, so we're just going to do the arithmetic in our head. So here we get 5x to the 7th over 5x to the 5th minus 10x to the 6th over 5x to the 5th plus 20x to the 5th over 5x to the 5th. So again, notice here that the 5's cancel out. So notice we get x to the 7th minus x to the 5th. So 7 minus 2, so I get x to the 2nd power minus 5 goes into 10 twice. So x raised to the 6 minus 5, that gives us a 1. So we get 2x plus, and now we get 4. And then notice that these two will just drop out. So we get this. Okay. All right, so one last one. So here we again play the same game. So this is going to be 27x squared y cubed divided by 3xy. minus 33xy to the fourth over 3xy minus 42x squared y divided by 3. So again, 3 goes into 27, so that's going to be a 9. So notice that these powers up here are all bigger than these powers. These are power 1. So 2 minus 1 is 1, so we get an x. 3 minus 1 is 2, so we get a y to the second power, minus, and then notice that 3 goes into 33, so that's going to be an 11. So notice here that the x's will just drop out, so those will divide away. And then here we get y to the fourth, and again this is to the first power, so 4 minus 1 is 3, so we get y to the third power, minus, now we take a look at 14 and 12, or 42 divided by 12, looks like that's going to be, what, 14? And notice that there's no, oh, this should be an xy, I think I forgot the xy here, yeah, 3xy. So again, notice that these are to the first power, so 2 minus 1, so we get an x, and then here the y's drop out, so we get y. So that would be our final answer. Okay. How about this one? Tell you what, you do this one and bring your answer back into class. We'll talk about that one in class. Okay. So that is the big thing here, the big hoopla. So we're just going to take a polynomial and divide that by a monomial and just use those rules of exponents. So now here's where things get interesting, and that is taking a binomial now and dividing it by taking a polynomial, sorry, and dividing that by a binomial. So here we have to do long division. All right. So this long division. Okay. So here we're going to take x plus 7. Whoops. So now we're going to get x squared plus 10x plus 21. All right. So here's the game. All right. So just like we did up here with the numbers, okay, and let me just scroll back up here real quick. Remember what we asked, what do we multiply this by to get 35? And then that's the game we kept playing all the way down. Okay. So what do we multiply the divisor by up here so that it doesn't get bigger than 59? So remember we said 9, so then we brought that down. We're going to play this exact same game, except notice there's just this little tweak. So the question is, what do we multiply this x by so that we get an x squared? So what do we multiply x by to get x squared? So notice that x times x gives me an x squared. So we go x times x, which is x to the second power, and then we go x times 7. All right, so we're going to go plus, and notice that x times 7 is 7x. Okay, so just like we did before, we have to subtract. So when you subtract, okay, when we do the subtraction, okay, I'm going to put my subtraction like over here for right now. What we have to do is remember it's going to be x squared minus x squared, and then x squared, or I'm sorry, 10x minus 7x. Okay. Or another way to remember this is that we flip the signs and add. So let's just note that we can flip this sign and we can flip this sign and get rid of that. So notice that x squared minus x squared is 0, and 10x minus 7x is 3x plus, and then we bring this down just like we did with the other number, 21. So this is the big one. This is what we do. And so now we ask, what do we multiply this x by to get 3x? So notice here we go plus 3. So again, we go 3 times 3x is 3x, and 3 times 7 is plus 21. And again, subtract. So remember, we have to subtract. So I'm going to do this one this way. So how about 3x minus 3x? So that's 0. And then 21 minus 21 is 0, so this is 0. So notice that this says that our answer then is x plus 3. And notice, well, I'm not going to go there, but let's just notice that is the answer, and our remainder is 0, so we're done. We just stop right there. Okay, so this is all we do. So let's go 3x minus 2, and we'll divide that by into 12x squared minus 11x minus 3. All right, so notice I'm just going to take the red circle, so we'll take the circle terms. So the question is what do we multiply 4x by to get a 12x squared? So to get the 12, we have to multiply by a 4. And then to get the x squared, we have to multiply x. So notice we take 4 times 3, so I get my 12, x times x, and I get my x squared. And then I have to take this 4x, don't forget to multiply it by this. So 4 times negative 2, so we get minus 8x. Okay, so again, we have to subtract. And again, I'll just do it this way for you guys. Okay, so again, we ask 12x squared minus 12x squared. So remember, when we do this, we go straight down, straight down, straight down. So 12x squared minus 12x squared is 0x squared. I'll just write that down. So 11x minus a negative x. Remember, this is 11x minus a negative x is equal to 11x plus 8x. So do we agree now we get, negative 11x minus a negative 8x becomes a negative 11x plus 8x. So this right here becomes minus 3x. And then we bring our 3 down, so minus 3. So I'm going to get rid of that. So now the question is, what do we multiply this 3x by to get a negative 3x? And hopefully we can agree that's going to be negative 1. So notice that negative 1 times 3x is minus 3x, and negative 1 times a negative 2 becomes plus 2. And again, now we have to subtract. So notice that negative 3x minus a negative 3x. So negative 3x minus a negative 3x is negative 3x plus 3x. So these go away. Boom, boom. And then minus 3 minus 2. So minus 3 minus a negative 2 becomes negative 3 plus 2, which is negative 1. Okay? So now we write our answer as 4x minus 1. And then remember with this part, we did this divided by this. So we get minus 1 over, let me get rid of this, 1 over 3x minus 2. Okay, so that would be our final answer right here when we have a remainder. So when we don't have a remainder, it's just this. Okay, and then when we do have a remainder, it becomes like this. Okay. All right, so notice here we have 8x cubed minus 8 divided by x minus 2. Now here we have to be careful with the polynomial, because let's just note that x cubed minus 8, notice we're missing an x squared and we're missing an x term in here. So we have to make sure that we supply those terms. And when the terms are missing, remember, anything that's missing is divisible, is multiplied by 0. So here, before we do anything, we go x cubed plus 0x squared plus 0x minus 8. And so now we want to divide that by x minus 2. So again, I'm going to circle this guy. Okay. So what do we multiply x by to get x cubed? Okay, so notice in this case it's going to be x to the second power. So x to the second times x is x cubed. And then notice this times this. So notice, see, if we didn't put those zeros in there, see, we would have been missing something for this guy. And we would have been doing some math magic. And we don't want to do math magic. Okay, so we'll take that out. That is out of the question. So now notice we have to subtract, so we go minus all of this, so x cubed minus x cubed is gone. So 0x squared minus a negative x squared, so this becomes plus, so we get 2x squared, and we'll bring this guy on down, plus 0x. So again, we repeat the process. X, so what do we multiply this x by to get the 2x squared? So notice we get plus 2x. So 2x times x is 2x squared. And then 2x times this, so we get minus 4x. So now we subtract. So 2x squared minus 2x squared is 0. 0x minus a negative 4x becomes 4x. And then we bring our 8 down, so minus 8. So now we'll just, what do we multiply x by to get 4x? So notice that's going to be plus 4. So here we get 4x minus 8. And notice that when we take 4x minus 8, subtract 4x minus 8, we get 0. So our final answer then is x squared plus 2x plus 4. Okay. Come on. All right, so the last one here is x cubed plus 125 over x plus 5. So why don't you take a look at this one, and why don't you try pausing the video as of now, and why don't you try to do this one, just kind of parrot what we did here, and take a moment and try to do that. And then once you're done, start the video up, and I'm just going to go ahead and provide the solution. So x cubed So there's our setup. Go ahead and do it. Pause the video if you haven't. All right, so now again, we'll circle this. So what do we multiply x by to get x cubed? So we get x squared, so I get x cubed plus 5x squared. And again, we'll subtract. So that goes away, so now we get minus 5x squared. Now we'll bring the plus 0x down. So what do we multiply x by to get negative 5x squared? So that's going to be negative 5x. So minus 5x times x is minus 5x squared. And then minus 5x times that, so we get minus 25x. And again, subtract. So negative 5x minus a negative 5x squared. So those drop out. So 0 minus, so this becomes 25x plus 125. So now we'll go plus 25. So what do we multiply x by to get 25x? So that's our 25 right there. So 25, so that's going to be 5, 10, 12, 125. And we get a plus here. So again, when we go to subtract, so 25x plus 125 minus 25x, so we get a 0. So now our final answer is x squared minus 5x plus 25. All right, I hope this video helps you out. Sorry, it is a 30-minute video, but we do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 divisions plus a little bit of terminology. So anyways, I hope this helps, and we'll have some worksheet in class. Thanks a lot for watching, and adios.